On the 28th of April 2025, as the Presley School Park here in Lumba, something amazing was outdoors, something beautiful, something life changing. So, Canva Media Foundation collaborated with amazing tech companies. One of it is Intel, and they have an initiative that is the Global Innovative Beacon School Network, and their only mission was to make an impact and empower young learners through technology, innovation, and impactful donation. And I had the opportunity to be the MC for that glorious event because the belief that the young learners are the leaders for tomorrow. And so, as stakeholders in the community, they need to contribute their quota to the development of these young ones. And I'm privileged to have with me right here Mr. Sean Williams, who is the Senior Technical Strategist and Global EdTech Partnership Lead for Intel right here. And before we get into conversation, Mr. Williams, once again, happy to have you here with
Thank
me.
you.
And let me just confess, during the event, your speech was my highlight because it was mixed with excitement. There were lots of emotions coming to play, and I could tell that you were very excited that you got the opportunity to give to society. And of course, it was powered by Shobiz TV. But before we get into details of this interview, just for starters, how was the feeling like when everything that you had planned on paper was actually set in motion for you to come and unveil these beautiful projects that you had for the school?
Well, I hope I don't cry here because I definitely cried yesterday. It was very powerful. It was very rewarding. This journey was about 2 to 3 years in the making. It was an idea that I had with Mr. Mason Ken Mason, the CEO and co-founder of Camera Media and Showbiz. And the story goes is that he welcomed me to Kumasi about 3 years ago. I was overwhelmed with the joy and the welcome and the tradition that was presented before me from that trip. And so when I came back to the States, one of the symbols that I remember was Sankofa, the bird, and Sankofa, and that Sankofa, and that meaning is like never forget your roots, always learn from the past to go forward, and do better and contribute. Once I got back to the States, I was blessed with the opportunity for having this new role where we were looking at underserved communities around the world to increase digital literacy. Partnership with the N50, and that's one of their motivations and initiatives is the next 50. 50% of the world is not part of the digital era. They're digital illiterate. So partnering with them and my company Intel, we had this initiative. And because of the warm welcome that I have from Kumasi and from Ghana, my sole goal was to make sure it made business sense for our company, but personally make sure I had the first one would be stood up here in Ghana and specifically Nwa.
Wow, you're so honored to be the first place. So that is a quick, genesis of this whole journey. But when we talk about education, we do have like the elementary, we have the basic education, senior high school, and on to the tertiary level. Why target these young ones at the basic level?
We've been around the world and we talked to some of the community leaders and some of the companies, and we feel that for one, the young leaders are being left out. The tablets and the one laptop, one student is more at the higher level. And the unfortunate thing is the young learners, they don't get the tools to understand what it takes to be successful at that next level. So we need to start young. And some of the kids that have been in here and they're so curious. They're smart now. They're smart at the primary level. Why not give them the tools to be geniuses and innovators and doctors and authors and dream at the young level? Why wait to the secondary school, the tertiary school? So we want to start young, give them the tools, young. And that way they get them excited about school, excited about learning. And that way it matriculates to the next level and the next level. And then they can go and get a job and hopefully work at Intel.
Definitely. I mean, we want to wake up to a beautiful day like that where these young ones that are benefiting from the projects that you adored, maybe in the future we're still working for Intel. I mean,
Absolutely.
it is possible we can actually have that come to play. But let's talk about this particular section.
Yes.
Why does this school become a beacon for me?
Great question. So we've stood up some schools again, partnered with the N50, partnered with appliances, smart technologies. There's a learn and upgrade. It takes a village to put up a digital school, and we've done that. What makes this one special, and makes this one a global, innovative beacon school, is because of the backing, support, the blessing, and approval from not only the community but the Minister of Education, and because we want this to be a model for the entire country. And I had some talks with the government, and we're hoping that they can make that possible. But the fact that we are aligned with the initiative with the Minister of Education, we have his support and his backing. Yesterday we had the community with Queen Mother that was here. We have a bunch of VIPs and dignitaries that were here supporting this. That's what makes it a beacon school. Um, once all of the communities, all the companies come together, deploy it, stand it up, we leave. So it's now becomes one with the community, one with the educational services. And in order for this to continue and to live on and to thrive and grow and get better, it has to be backed by the headmaster, by the ICT, by Queen Mother, by the community, and onward and upward till it gets to the Ministry of Education, so then we can roll this out nationally.
Right. Talking about ICT, I like that. I always say that these young learners are very privileged to be exposed to this opportunity. I mean, if I have a chance, to go back in time, I probably want to settle in a school like this and get the exposure like that. And you also explained to us earlier why you chose this cycle of education, I would say. Why ICT? Because there are lots of subjects or lots of disciplines that you could have decided to tackle as a team. Why did you decide to tackle ICT and donate a lab?
Yeah, so that's another good question. ICT is unlimited. All of the courses, math, science, English, can all still be taught at this digital lab. So this doesn't have to be just a computer lab. This could be a lab for English, be a lab for writing, lab for science without the chemicals and maybe making something that's unsafe. But that's why we target ICT. But it's also a gateway for connecting Lingua to the rest of the world.
Right.
And that's powerful in itself. So it's an unlimited resource that gives ICT the introduction, but we want the educators in here from all walks, from all disciplines, to make use of this. The heartbeat of this lab is Intel. All these machines here are running on very powerful chipsets that are inside here. And we open up these resources to make these very powerful beacon workstations to go out and explore the world one station at a time.
Right. And when Canva Media Foundation called, of course, a lot of companies did come on board to collaborate. I mean, Learning Upgrade, Smart, N50, appliances. But then, like you said, Intel is the heartbeat. What kind of song is Intel trying to sing to the people beyond the Ghanaian borders, to the outside world? What message are you trying to convey with this particular mission that you have on board?
The message is every student should have the tools to learn and to be curious and to lead and to empower and to teach others. It shouldn't matter where you come from, it shouldn't matter where you're at. We know that there are underserved communities around the world, but we still know that there are some very smart and talented people and kids in those underserved communities. Why not give them the equal tools to equal the playing field for them to be successful and contribute just as much as kids who are at schools with much more technology than we have here? Let's work to even the playing field, give them the necessary tools and skills to be successful just as anyone else.
Right. Interesting. But Mr. Sean, let's talk about maintenance culture. So, as a stakeholder, you do believe that you have an obligation towards these young learners. Now they do have the computers, they do have to their credit or to their advantage a lab for them as well. Let's talk about maintenance culture. What should they do to ensure the longevity of these things that would also want other people to come on board to collaborate or partner with you to give more to the society?
So when we identify schools of interest, it's not a rigorous criteria, but there's very important pieces that has to happen for this to be to sustain. You have to have an excited, engaged, and willful headmaster, and we have that. I mean, we were blessed to have that headmaster come in here on his own time, paint the wall, get the floors together. So it starts there. In addition to that, we have to have content. Let me back up. You have to have approval and buy-in from the government. Because again, once I leave, once all the cameras are gone, we want to make sure that these are not collecting dust. And so I always say that this is now the community of Mugwa. This is now part of the Minister of Education. Get content on these systems. And we have appliances that work with us too, where you can put offline content on these systems. The Ghanaian curriculum is mapped to Khan Academy. Intel Skills for Innovation is offline content that helps the administrators learn. And that's how it lives on, because content is forever changing. So I want to come back in 6 months, in 3 months, and see new content on here to ensure that these computers are living beings and they're not stale, and new stuff is being added. That's the biggest part of the maintenance and longevity, is the use cases and the ways we learn how to use these systems. We know that we don't know. We know that we don't know what the Ghanaian curriculum is. We know that we don't know how the educators teach in this school. And so we want to get that feedback from them, the feedback from you, the feedback from the community, to make these systems better, to generate new content, to put that on there so the teachers can teach easily, more easily, and the learners can learn easier and faster.
Interesting. And Mr. Sean, you do agree with me that it takes two to tango and two heads are always better than one. So you did achieve this with the help of other people, other corporate bodies that came on board to collaborate and partner with you. What would you say to them for coming on board to help you do this? And especially to Shobiz TV
Yes.
for, being the media powerhouse behind this initiative.
And this is probably another emotional one for me because, thank you for the interview, but it's not just me that's been doing the hard work behind the scenes. Without the power of Mr. Mason and Campbell Media Foundation and Shobiz, I'd have never had an avenue or a way into the people in Ghana, in Ugwa. We'd have just been an ignorant vessel outside in the West trying to figure out how to bring this to a country that we knew nothing about. So our beacon was Campbell Media Foundation and Mr. Mason. And from that, Nana Yao was on the executive board of ActionAid, and Mr. John, who was the president, I believe, or whatever his title may be, from ActionAid Ghana. That's the soul of what was brought here to the community. We have these amazing companies, Smart, that donated to Smart Board, Learning Upgrade, that donated to content, the Starlink that was donated, Intel with the Heartbeat, these PCs that was donated, the N50, which orchestrated everything. But without the soul of Campbell Media Foundation, without the soul of ActionAid, who's local and on the ground, none of this would have been made possible. To bring in, to identify the school. We had Campbell Media and Shobiz and Mr. Pacho to identify a perfect school and a perfect headmaster and a great infrastructure, where this school and this, Beacon School and this Beacon Digital Lab is not only going to service this one school, but I hear it's going to be 5 others around the community. How beautiful is that? A cluster of schools. How beautiful. I didn't know there was a cluster of schools. I had no idea there was a cluster of schools. And so that's where we need the soul from those on the ground that know Nungwa, know there's a cluster of schools, knows there's an ambitious and excited headmaster that is not going to let this initiative fail. And so that's the power of bringing everyone together for one purpose.
Right. I'm a bit emotional too, and I can see that from your eyes as well. But thank you so much for joining me on this interview. But before we wrap it up, you mentioned some profile, which means that you do observe things. But so far, share with me three things that you do enjoy in Ghana.
The kids,
Okay.
I know that may be, an expected answer, but while I was setting this up, we had a group of young boys who was in here every day. While one was up, two was up, we were going through problems, they were helping me install it. And that was the thing that I'll take back. Those Ghana young boys was amazing. Um, the positive energy in Ghana, the smiles on everybody's face. I've yet to see someone, I don't care where they're at, where they're standing on the street, that's mean, that just looks upset. There's just joy on their faces. And with joy, that's a catalyst for anything that's possible. And the food.
Ooh, I was really expecting that to make like a first or second list, but yes.
I want to start last.
I appreciate that. Can you mention some names?
Jollof.
Ooh, right. We are actually having these, battle with the Nigerians.
I know, and I might get in trouble.
Jollof, yeah, but it's fine. We do. Jollof is actually nice food.
The only way to my Nigerian friends out there that's listening, the only way that I'll compare it is if they open the school in Nigeria.
Right.
And then they send me, and then I'll be able to compare the jollof rice, and maybe they send you and interview me, and I'll give my vote.
Opinion,
Yes,
definitely.
yes.
Okay. Mr. Sean Williams, thank you so much for being with me here for this interview. I really enjoyed myself, and congratulations once again to you.
Thank you.
Personally, and to your group, to your collaborators. This is something that is really cherished right here in Ghana. Usually we want to wait on the help of the government before we want to extend a helping hand. But I always say that what is wealth if we can't influence positively? What is wealth if we can't aid people? What is wealth if we can't make a difference? And you right here and your team, you did make a difference. And so we do appreciate you. God bless you. And yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. So that'll be all for you. Thank you so much for watching this interview. My name is Nana Echamu. Thank you.